Yo, what up, dogs? I went and saw Big George Foreman yesterday afternoon because it was a rainy day and I had nothing else to do. And I thought, I like boxing movies. Let's go see a boxing movie about George Foreman. I know nothing about this guy. So I went. There was only 5 people in the theater with me. It was 3 dudes, and one of the dudes brought his children with him. And I want to say they were like 5 and 8. And this movie is okay. It's not great. It doesn't suck. It's just an okay film. And I feel bad whenever I see a movie and I give it a judgment of it's okay. Because like I know how hard it is to make movies and the time and dedication to put a movie together and put it out there. It's a lot of work. And just for me, a dude on the internet to go, it was okay. That bums me out a lot. So, yeah, this movie was okay. It's a biopic. First and foremost, it's a biopic about George Foreman. And I also want to say it is a little bit of a faith-based film as well. Like, it's actually like 2 films. I don't even know what this movie should be. I don't know why this movie exists, other than to tell me a story about George Foreman. But as I was watching this movie, George Foreman doesn't seem like a very interesting person. Or maybe it's just this movie, the way he is. Because I know nothing about George Foreman. As a boxer, I know nothing about him. I only know him from the 80s and 90s as George Foreman, the grill guy, right? The George Foreman grill. That's what I know George Foreman as. So I'm not... I'm not a big fan of boxing, like watching it. So I just know of him as a heavyweight champion at some point in time, and he has his grill. So I don't know much about the man. And I thought I would learn a lot more about him seeing this film, and I think I did. I think I walked away afterwards going, I should look up George Foreman a little bit more and research him a little bit more and like read about his story, because like this is a biopic and there's going to be some fiction to this. So, yeah, I was kind of interested in more of the character, and let's kind of just dive into this movie a little bit, because really, this movie should be 2 different films, if anything, or 1 film, not 2 films, because it is 2 concepts in 1 movie. And here we go. I got my notes out. This movie is directed by George Tillman Jr., and it stars Khris Davis as George Foreman, okay? Now, we start this movie off I'm going to break this movie off into 2 parts, okay? The first part of this movie is all about George Foreman and his life and his career, okay? So the first part is his childhood, which is played by a different actor. I forgot to write his name down. I'm sorry, dude. And we see his upbringing from he comes from a big family. They're poor. They live in the ghetto, I guess, of Texas, I think is where he's from. And he goes to school. He's not he doesn't seem like he's dumb in any respect at all as a student. It's more along the lines of he comes to school dressed down and grubby, and the teachers don't believe in him. But he doesn't ever come across as dumb in this movie at all. And that's like, I want to point that out. He doesn't come across that way at all. And it's just because it's pretty much, they never gave him an opportunity to show that he was smart compared to the other kids in class. You know what I'm saying? Because they had proper dress shirt, we'll say. Their shoes didn't have no holes in them. And he's showing up with rips in his pants and holey shoes, you know what I'm saying? So he didn't get the opportunity that the other students got. And with that came with a certain level of rage, because people would pick on him. And so with his rage, he would punch the crap out of people. He'd beat people up. And that's kind of how he lived his life as his childhood. Now fast forward to his teenage years, which would be, I think this movie's roughly, it jumps him from kids to teenage. And I think he's probably 17, 18 when we get back with him. And that's when we get with Khris Davis, who's playing George Foreman, right? And like, George Foreman in his teenage years is like running game on the street. He's jumping people, he's mugging people, he's trying to make ends meet, and he's a big jack dude too. Actually, he's like really well built in this. Like, I was quite impressed by his traps. I was like, man, that guy's got some good traps. So, he robs some dude. It's a cop. He runs away from him, and he hides underneath the house, and he has to smother poop on him himself to avoid the dogs to lose their scent, right? And this is just kind of like a moment in his life where he's like, this is can it get any worse? My life sucks right now. Can it get any worse than this? And he also, and I guess I should mention this real briefly, with his mother, her name, who plays his mom? Sonja Sohn plays Nancy Foreman, and they have this dynamic between each other about religion. It starts off really early. She's always like, pray to God and trust and all this jazz. And he's like, what's God got to do with this? You know what I'm saying? He has no belief with God at all. And that plays out a lot in his early childhood and his teenage and formative years. So after the cop thing, he goes and joins the work corps, which I've never heard about ever in my life. I don't know what this thing is, but it's a place for people to go to learn skills to get into the workforce. So you see like a lot of scenes where he's like working with transistor radios and like building sheds and stuff like that, like learning how to do stuff, right? I thought he was going to join the army. I thought it was an army thing, but it looks like they just go to learn how to build stuff and then go work in the workforce. But as he's here, this is where he also, another conflict happens where his rage takes over and he beats up somebody. But as a result of beating up this person, well, he didn't really beat him up. He hung him out the window because the guy stole his shoes. He runs into Forrest Whitaker, who plays Doc Brones. Yeah, Brones. And this guy, Forrest Whitaker, Doc, is a boxer, trainer, and a boxer. And this starts this relationship between Doc and George Foreman. And George Foreman gets this love for boxing and decides that he wants to become a gold medalist. Like, he's determined. And Forrest Whitaker, or Doc, is like, nah, dog, it's going to take a while for you to do that. We're going to train, and in 5 years you can do it. But George Foreman's like, no, I'm going to win it in Mexico, which is a year away. And guess what? He does. And also, if you're sitting there going, about to type in the comments below, yo, dog, stop spoiling the movie. This is about his life. I'm not spoiling anything, you know what I'm saying? This is what happened to him. So this movie is very by the books when it comes to a biopic, okay? You're just going along for the ride of George Foreman. So anyways, he wins the gold medal. He gets roasted for showing off the flag. I guess that was a big deal in his life. And the Black Panther movement is like, why are you doing that? You look like a sucker, blah, blah, blah. I don't even mean to blah, blah, blah it, but this is how this movie feels. Like, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm going to be honest with you guys right this minute. I'm always honest with you, but right this minute. This movie sets up a lot of interesting things, but it doesn't go anywhere. Like, when he's confronted by the Black Panther movement, nothing really happens. You know, he's like, he gets mad because people are calling him a sucker. And he goes and complains to his mom, and his mom's like, don't worry about that jive, you know? And then he goes, I'm going to just go win the heavyweight championship so no one can call me a sucker anymore. And that's what he does. And then for 33 matches that we don't get to see, there's no training montage in this movie at the beginning or like in his early day career. We only get one boxing match, which was okay. Like, if you watch Rocky or Creed or anything else with boxing in it, there's way better boxing movies out there, like for the cinematography of combat, than what this movie had. And that's upsetting because I'm here to watch a boxing movie, not George Foreman's entire life. But, like, I was also interested. Like, I was invested in learning about George Foreman. I'm very torn on this movie, guys. So, anyways, he becomes a boxer. He does, like, 33-0. He wins the championship. And everyone's hyped. Right? Yeah, he does win. And then oh, yeah, that's right. He does win. And then he has to fight Muhammad Ali. And when Muhammad Ali shows up in this movie, the movie actually becomes a better film. Like, I'm telling you guys, this movie should really be focused on George Foreman's life up to his illustrious career to when he fights Muhammad Ali. Like, there's a good story in there just waiting to be told. I don't know where it is, but it's in there. I think we're missing out on something there. And the dude who plays Ali, hold on one second. Let me get his name out here. I don't know why I folded my notes up. The dude who plays Ali is Sullivan Jones. He was great. He was my favorite person in this entire movie. Every moment Ali was on screen was great. The fight between Foreman and Ali was also good. It's not amazing or great. I was not there, present for this fight, so I don't know how accurate this fight is. I'm sure there's footage out there, but like he got rope-a-doped and he loses, right? Because he gets tired out from punching Ali a whole bunch of times, and then Ali punches him. And I was like, oh, okay, that's the whole thing. And I'm telling you guys, I'm not well versed in boxing, but that's it. And then there's the downfall of George Foreman after he loses the belt, which is like another element of this movie that could have been so much more cooler to go down. Like the whole rise and fall of George Foreman would be a really interesting movie if that's what they gave us. But they didn't. They show a little bit of the fall of George Foreman, and he goes down like this like rabbit hole of despair and all that jazz. He's fighting bums. He's trying to figure his way out to fight Muhammad Ali again. And it almost seems like Ali's like ducking him, but it's not really happening. And then he gets knocked out in a match. I think it was the match he needed to win in order to go against Ali. But he gets knocked out in that match. And when he gets knocked out, this is where it becomes... No, actually, wait, I totally forgot. Before he gets knocked out, his sister has a baby that might not be born, so he prays. This is the first time he actually prays to God. And he tells God that if you let this baby live, you can take me. And that's what happens. He goes and gets boxed, he gets knocked out, and he gets killed, so to speak. And which I don't even know if that's real. I don't even know if that's real. But then he comes back alive, and he's like, hallelujah, Jesus found me. And he goes and runs into the shower, and he starts yelling, I'm clean, I'm clean. It's so weird. This movie is so weird. It's so weird. It's an okay movie, but it's so weird. And then the movie goes into the faith-based side of things, about him like running a church, becoming a pastor, or starting a youth center. And then after that, he runs out of money, and then all of a sudden he's like, well, I have to go back to boxing. And he does, and I'm sugarcoating it because this movie's long. There's a lot of things going on in this film. And this is where, like, you could have done a second movie about the preacher version of George Foreman who becomes the heavyweight champion when he turns 45. This could have been a whole different movie. There's 2 movies in this movie. I'm so, man. Guys, I don't know. Anyways, he wins the championship belt. He makes a lot of money again. He makes a ton of money losing to Evander Holyfield. He makes like $10 million. And then he makes more money off of winning the belt. And he makes money off his George Foreman grill. Like, it shows that after he, like... and his wife has, like, a vision from God saying that he will win the championship after he lost, before he loses to Evander Holyfield. She had a dream, and like that just spurred on George Foreman even more to go and like win. That's the end of my review. I don't know what else to say about this film. I don't even have anything to nitpick because this movie felt like a Lifetime movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's something that you would just watch on TV. Like, I don't know. It's just like such a weird film, man. And like, I didn't hate it. I would say I don't hate this movie. I don't love this movie. I'll never buy it. It will not go into the collection. I'll never watch this movie again. But it's an okay film. You know what I'm saying? Man, I feel so bad. I'm not going to the movies again until I go see Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know if I'm going to go and see a blind buy at the movie theater not anymore, but anytime soon after going to this George Foreman movie. I was expecting a good boxing movie. I didn't get it. Hey, I'm going, guys. You guys all have a good weekend. Go see George Foreman if you want to. I don't think you should. Yeah, save your money for Guardians of the Galaxy that's out like this week, okay? Wait till it comes out on streaming. And I mean like Netflix. Like, don't even get it on digital. It's not worth it. Unless you're into faith-based movies and biopics. Like, if you love George Foreman and you want to see a biopic of George Foreman and you know everything about George Foreman, hey, you're going to love it. Anyways, I'm out, guys. I'm really leaving this time. Leave a comment below. Tell me what you thought of this movie if you went and saw it. And, yeah, man. Have a good week. Whatever movie you are watching, I hope you're enjoying it. And, like, peace out, man. Peace out. Have a good one, y'all. I'm out.